Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and esteemed participants, welcome to a remarkable event that promises to inspire and empower us all. We are delighted to present Girl Child Empowerment Protection, a groundbreaking initiative organized by IDMNC International in collaboration with Pioneers Youth. Our panelists are accomplished individuals who have dedicated their lives to championing the cause of women empowerment. First, please give a warm welcome to Ms. Insia Dariwala, a writer, director, TEDx speaker, and co-founder of SAHIYO. She also the founder of the Hope Hands of Hope Foundation, an organization committing to making a difference. Next, we have the honor of welcoming Ms. Eranga Dissanayake, an attorney of law and a lecturer at the Open University of Sri Lanka. Her expertise in legal matters will provide a unique perspective on our journey towards the empowerment. Yes, we have an inspiring lineup of discussions and insights ahead of us. The journey towards empowering our girls and women is one of great importance, and we are fortunate to have these remarkable individuals with us today to guide us along this path. Let's open the floor to the panelists. Yes, and let's begin with the first question for today. And in your words, what is girl child protection and why is it important?
So I, first of all, thank you for having me here. Thank you, Hafsa. Thank you, IDMNC and Pioneer Youth. It's a real pleasure actually to be here with so much of youthful energy, and whoever is watching, thank you for taking out time. Girl child protection, I think that is something that is a very vast topic. So I'll just give you a little bit about what India does. Okay, so in 2013, we had launched the National Policy of Child Protection. And under that, the girl child was also obviously included because it was a child protection program. And we have many rights under that for a girl child as well, which includes right to safety, right to education, right to surviving, right to good health, good nutrition, and just, a lot of other things that actually protect her. But the bigger and better scheme, what I would say came up was very recently in the last few years, and that was the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao campaign, which means save the girl child and educate her. And that came about because there was a lot of cases of female feticide, and there was a declining number of girl children here. So the government came up with this, and I think it's important because just for this fact that you need a law to protect a child or protect a girl to live. And that, as much as I feel ashamed to even say that we need laws to make sure that women are living, that is the fact. So we need laws, and I'm happy that the girl protection scheme is, I don't know if it is very successful yet, but at least there is something to turn to, and at least something that acts as a deterrent for female feticide and educating the child. So yeah.
Okay, so thank you for having me as well. So it's a great pleasure to join this panel discussion in this evening. Talking about a definition, so building up a definition for girl child protection. So exactly, we have a lot of discussions, maybe panels, webinars related to this child protection, but today we are specifically focusing on girl child protection. So Insia is having a lot of perspectives on economically in related to advocacy, but as a lawyer, when it comes to the field of law, from a legal perspective, I would suggest a definition for a girl child protection as setting laws, regulations, or sometimes measures to identify in order to safeguard the rights maybe well-being and the safety of female minors, especially under the UN Convention for Child Rights, typically under the age of 18, and those who are under age of 18, and especially the female minors. So through this, having a legal framework aiming to provide girl minors with the necessary protection, free from harm, discrimination, sometimes exploitation, child labor or violence, abuse, we have a lot of words, and also physical, mental, or sexual harassment. So when it comes to the importance of girls' child protection, why we really need to protect, especially these girl minors, in a legal context, maybe we can suggest this girl child protection is something fundamentally rooted in the principles of human rights, including right to life, liberty, and security of the persons, and also as a girl, freedom from discrimination in the society. So we know that these rights are enshrined in various international conventions, and also in India as well, and in Sri Lanka also we have a lot of national laws. So basically, in order to secure all these human rights, and also to prevent all these child abuses, child labors, and whatever we discussed in our definition, so we really need to prevent girl minors from all these harassments and child abuse. That's why we really need girl child protection, and also to ensure the right to education of children, specifically girl children. So it's kind of a very big issue in most of the countries. So giving access to education, especially focusing girl minors, it's very important to focus on this girl child protection, according to my legal perspective.
That was really insightful opinions given by our wonderful panelists. Well, let's move to the next question that we have for today. And what do you think are the crucial elements of girl child protection?
I think the most crucial element of girl protection is the education part, because I feel, and we have heard this quote many, many times, that when you educate a man, you are educating an individual. But when you educate a girl, you are educating a nation. So it's very true, because when a girl is educated and when she becomes a woman, and there is so much that she carries with her because of that education, she can do so much more, in terms of becoming economically independent and helping her spouse, maybe having an equal partnership. I think women are not really allowed to do what they are possibly able to do. And most of the unhappiness stems from that. Like when you do not allow a girl to do what a boy is allowed to do, like the basics, just the basics of having the right to go to school. I think that itself can open such a big Pandora's box, because that child now, the girl who is not allowed to go to school, is going to grow up into a very unhappy woman. And that unhappiness is then going to trickle down into her family, into her relationships, into her mental health, physical health, so many things. So that to me is the most crucial element of the girl protection, the right to educate herself.
So as Insia correctly pointed out, I'm also agreeing with her, especially we should have awareness and empowering the youth, especially these young girl minors, related to their, especially having legal education on their rights, what they have in our national laws and in international laws, what they have focused on protecting all the rights, especially to protect the right to education or whatever, to prevent from sexual harassment or whatever. We really need to spread awareness related to legal education and also to empower them. And as a lawyer, I think, so you're asking about the crucial element. Maybe I'm agreeing with Insia, but in a legal perspective, I would say definitely we should have in each and every jurisdiction, each and every country, we should have a comprehensive framework, a legal framework which is designed to ensure well-being, rights, and safety of female minors, definitely, right? So a robust legal framework is always foundational, including all the laws and regulations that protect girls from various forms of abuse, exploitations, and discriminations, and especially to promote their rights. And but we think that having kind of a comprehensive legal framework or a lot of rules and regulations, that is enough for a country. That would be the crucial element for girl child protection. But I think not like as a critical element, not framing all these to just written laws, right? To promote whatever the equal opportunities or to prevent all the sexual harassment. But we really need to have kind of a mechanism, an effective mechanism, especially a monitoring evaluation process in a country to check whether these responsible authorities, they are guiding and they are acting towards ensuring all these international and national laws to protect girl child from all the vulnerabilities, especially whatever the child labor or whatever these sexual harassments or whatever. So we have to have kind of a good mechanisms. When it comes to Sri Lanka, we normally talk that we know that we have a lot of laws. Starting from the constitution, we have fundamental rights. Basically, then apart from that, we have ratified most of the international conventions, and through that we have enabling legislations here in Sri Lanka. But apart from that, I think because girl child protection is something very sensitive, right? Very sensitive area we have to focus on. So I think the mechanism always should be there in an effective way, and also the government should take the responsibility to evaluate the process and to ensure these authorities and all the responsible persons, individuals, they are acting according to their duties and responsibilities. So I think that is very critical, and that's the most important element for girl child protection.
Miss Insia, have you got anything to say?
No, I totally agree with whatever Eranga just said, and it's lovely to get a perspective that is legal in nature, because even though, I do believe that we need a multi-pronged approach, while laws are extremely crucial and needed, and we do have some very great laws actually in India. However, implementation is the problem, right? Because if you do not implement it, those laws are not going to be of any use. So as Eranga pointed out, there is a need to make the general public aware of what laws are there in this country and what are the rights of these girls, and that's I think we as a country are still, it's an uphill battle, because we just have so many people to reach out to. So it's going to be an uphill task, but it is something that the government should be doing on a more larger scale and depute, as she said, we should have at the district level, at the state levels, have these maybe like how we have women's cells. We should have cells that are legal in nature, who go around and create awareness and teach people what their rights are, what their rights are where the girl child is concerned, what are the schemes that the government is offering, how it can be used to your advantage. And yeah, that's what I just wanted to add.
And yes, before I move to the next question, we'll start the question to be answered by Ms. Insia, followed by Ms. Eranga. All right, so the third question for today is, what is it like when a girl child is not being protected? How does it affect her?
So I have seen this around me. I've experienced it myself, and I think most girls will relate to it, that when a girl child is not protected, when a girl is not protected, and when we talk about protection, I think it is not just about keeping her behind closed doors and protecting her, but it's about creating a safe environment outside of home and within home as well, because a lot of abuse, sexually or otherwise, takes place in home environments. And I'm sure Eranga can vouch for this. I don't know about cases over there in Sri Lanka, but over here we see a lot of violence unleashed on children, especially girls, sexually. I'm talking about sexually, although boys are equally abused, if not more. But since we are talking about girls, let me stick to that. So there is a very, very big need to protect girls, because the lack of protection can create all these issues that I had just, a few minutes ago mentioned. It's like raising a child that is broken in many, many ways. A girl who is not protected, she could be facing sexual violence at home. She could be facing abuse, child labor. She could be trafficked. She could be, her right to education could be taken away. And now when we see all this happening, her right to nutrition, actually, I mean, we have seen this many, many times and there have been a lot of public awareness ads as well. When I was growing up, I've seen where the girl is, while eating, it's the boy that is being fed more because he has to grow up into a strong man. But the girl, it's okay if she doesn't eat as much, or the boy needs to be educated. It's okay if the girl doesn't need to be educated because she's going to just get married and go away. And what we then see happening is a very big discrimination, a very big disparity. So when you take a girl who's going to grow into an adult woman and have all these things going on inside of her, it's affecting her mentally. A girl that is not nourished or nurtured properly as a child is not going to be very healthy. And trust me, we all know that for a woman, it's very essential to be healthy physically and mentally, because she is going to be carrying, if she is in a childbearing ages, she's the one who's going to be impacted the most. She's not going to be able to have healthy babies. And so we are looking at generational traumas, not just on a physical level, but also on an emotional level. So I do feel that the lack of girl child protection leads to many, many problems on different layers. It's not just one layer. If we start peeling the layers, we'll see that a happy woman is probably a happy home, even though I do not put the entire burden of a happy home on the woman. I don't want to do that, because I feel everybody in that home, whether it's the spouse, whether it's the in-laws, mother, father, whoever is there, they are equally responsible to create a happy environment. But when we are talking about just a girl who's going to be growing into an unhappy woman, that is just going to be trickling down on everybody else. And it's just not going to be a very, very, I would say, ideal situation. Let's put it that way. So I think we don't have a choice. We have to make sure that girls are protected.
Yeah, I think Insia talked on most of the negative consequences. Yeah, as Insia correctly pointed out, most of the, the physical, emotional, and psychological well-being of a girl child would affect it because of not having a protection, especially not only a legal protection, but also there should be a social protection. That social protection always should comes from the attitudes of the people. So that should be like we have to contribute as a part of the society. Every individual should contribute to that social protection. But when it comes to the legal protection, so in a legal perspective, so if there is no robust legal framework or no laws or exact regulations for that, definitely there may be a lot of continuous happenings, continuous violations, human rights violations and all. And when it comes to the physical harm and how the girls affected physically, most of the time we see these physical abuses, exploitations, and especially we have to talk about this domestic violence, these two words, domestic violence. So it may be led to all these injuries, health issues sometimes, and we have seen sometimes, especially this is happening in plantation sectors in upcountry in Sri Lanka. Most of the Tamil girls who are in all these tea estates, they are vulnerable to child labor. So internal human trafficking is always taken place in Sri Lanka, and most of the girl childs are taken from those upcountry to Colombo and most of the other areas as domestic workers, actually. So when it comes to domestic work, so if a child is subjected to kind of a violence or sexual harassment at work and during her work time as a domestic worker, actually Sri Lanka is not having a robust or exact legal framework for that, but we have some other. However, we are trying to like cover the legal aspects through our penal code and other areas, but we don't have any other like a specific law to address that. So definitely we should have laws to address all this. And also as Sri Lanka and also India is Sri Lanka is an island nation, and we have this resource of sea, right? So we the fishing industry is always continues in Sri Lanka as the biggest part of the economy, right? So when it comes to this fishing industry, not only boys, but also these child girls, they are subjected to child labor through their parents, right? So we don't have any specific law to address all these irregular child labor. Still we have a long way to go. So because of these, because of girls are not being protected, even in legal aspect or a social aspect, they are subjected to physical, emotional, and psychological well-being of them. And also it affects the education, right? Basically the education, because of these child labor, and they all, especially these child girls, right? So they lose their opportunities for a decent employment and also future aspects and future, especially earning potentials of their in their future prospects of their lives. So definitely they will lose. So, and also when it comes to these I mean violations in legal frameworks, definitely these child marriage is taken place. Because of this child marriage, there are a lot of negative consequences are happening. So because as one, early pregnancies, and sometimes limited personal autonomy. Sometimes this girl child, they lose their self-esteem. So these kind of, I mean, we cannot limit it to certain points, but there is a huge area, a huge scope, vast scope to discuss about the consequences, negative consequences that taken place because of not being protected. These girl childs are not being protected. Yeah.
Thank you for that wonderful answer. And I believe that would be illuminating the modern context as well. So yes, let's move to the first question that we have for today. So I will be giving the opportunity once again for Ms. Insia and followed up by Ms. Eranga. Yes, and the question is, how can we, as a society, help protect girl children?
So I will speak about the how based on what we do. Okay, based on what I do with both my NGOs. And one works on child sexual abuse and the other works on female genital cutting. So the way we can help protect the girls is by engaging the system. The entire, it's like, you know, it's a tree. Okay, if I were to explain this, taking the analogy of a tree, there are so many branches that need to, there's a root that is underneath, and then there is the entire tree, and then there are the branches. So if we look at the child as the middle portion, and then there are these roots that are holding this child. So I quote this many times because it's one of my favorite quotes. Okay? And I've said this at many talks of mine, that it takes a village to raise a child, and it also takes a village to abuse it. Okay, so the bottom line is that we need to engage the entire society in order to protect a child, in order to create an environment for the girl to come into a full potential, whether it is physically, whether it is mentally, whether it is through her educational talents or her psychological well-being. We need to engage the entire system, and that can only happen when there is an awareness that is created. So for example, if we start from a home in which there is a girl child, and if parents start doing away with the discrimination, okay, and it's a very simple thing if you think about it. At the minute the child is born, there is blue for the boy and pink for the girl. So we have already discriminated over there. We have given a doll in the hands of a girl and a car in the hands of a boy. How about if we switch it? What happens then? Is that a possibility? So we need to stop discriminating right from the get-go. We need to start creating an environment where a girl is allowed to be whatever she wants to be and grow in the same way and have the same opportunities and the same nutrition and the same safety that is enjoyed by the other gender. And that is something that can be created by engaging the civic society, by engaging parents, by engaging schools, government bodies, the police systems. So there are so many different elements that is going to be, I would say, contributing to protecting a girl. It's not just laws. It's not something that laws are definitely essential. We all know that it's imperative that we have laws, but we cannot sit. Laws cannot be invoked, from thin air. Somebody has to go. Like, let's say just a small example. If there is a case of abuse, a sexual abuse on a girl, and it's happening in the confines of a home, what is it that is going to make that entire episode maybe not better, but help the girl deal with it better? One, the child can be removed from the environment. Two, the parents, if let's say one of the parents is the abuser, the mother can become then a very instrumental figure in helping that girl either heal from whatever has happened, going, testifying for her in court, helping her through the entire process. Instead, what mostly happens is that it is hushed up. It is like, okay, she's a child, she'll get over it, so let's not deal with it. Please be silent, don't tell anybody. The conspiracy of silence is so huge when it comes to anything to do with, abuse, anything to do with violence. And it is this silence, it is this conspiracy of silence that is actually our downfall. Because if we do not take an issue that is so big and make a big deal about it, how else will we be able to protect the girl? Or how else will we even be able to create awareness? Okay, we need to go out and share more stories. And that's what we do at my NGOs. We use the power of storytelling. We invite people to come to share, and we invite women. I have shared my own story on a very public platform because I feel that we need to do away with the stigmas attached to anything that is to do with, a girl child and what happens to her. Everything cannot happen behind closed doors in hushed tones. We need to scream out loud now, whether it's about domestic violence, whether it is about abuse sexually or otherwise, child trafficking, child marriages, anything and everything that's pertaining to a girl. We need to come out and we need to talk about it openly. And I think that's the only way that we will ensure that a girl is protected when we come together collectively as a society and put an end to whatever it is that is becoming detrimental to the girl. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share.
Yeah, Insia. So I totally agree with you. I think there should be kind of a collective responsibility. So we all have a collective responsibility, and we have separate responsibilities to fulfill in this game, definitely within our system. So this is not only the responsibility of the law, but also it involves individuals, communities, the governments, and all the organizations, maybe initiatives like what you have started, raising voice against all these corruptions, all these to protect the child rights. So I think, so you talked about this promoting gender equality and raising awareness and all. Definitely, I think the government should involve in a better way, not only like having like setting all these laws and all, but also, as I mentioned earlier, like monitoring all the mechanisms and guiding all the authorities. So especially currently, like we are in the 21st century, so we have a lot of developments in the society when it comes to the, especially with the digital age, we have a lot of advancements in the society. So we have to deal with all these digital advancements as well. So when it comes to the girl child protection, so we should, when it comes to the legal framework, so we should deal with new trends, and we have to amend our laws, and we have to take new approaches to address all these new issues, right, coming under all these recent developments. And also, I think government should take necessary steps to raise the quality of the education, because in the protection of girl child, I think the education plays a pivotal role, definitely. And also we have to challenge all these gender stereotypes, which comes with the generation gaps, right? Especially we should have kind of an approach to change the perspective of parents, because these most of the parents are in one generation, and now children are in one generation, right? So there may be a contradiction between all these generations because of this generation gap. So that might affect sometimes this girl child on her education, or maybe how she plays her role within the society, how she dresses or whatever. So that may be affect. So definitely we have to challenge all these gender stereotypes, which traditional gender stereotypes, which comes under this generation gaps. And also government should focus on raising quality education, because if a girl is empowered, girl child is empowered with the education, definitely she is independent, right? Economically independent. So this economical independence so may be affected to a lot of things, that definitely not depending on someone, and contributing to the society, the leadership and advocacy, as correctly what Insia is doing in India. So definitely there should be approaches by the government to like to prevent all these. And also there should be economic empowerments. So basically we know that this child labor is coming from most of the families because of their poverty. In Sri Lanka, we can see all this child labor and everything in very poor families, especially in when it comes to the plantation sector, upcountry, and when it comes to the agricultural settings, we have a lot of child labor things happening, incidents happening. So if we can address this economic, especially, you know, that Sri Lanka is in a economic crisis now. It has been like raised in numbers now, the child labor, especially since COVID-19 period up until now. So there's a big improvement in child labor. So I think government should have a kind of an approach to address all this economic empowerment as well, as an indirect approach, other than, because I know Insia mentioned about all this raising awareness, promote gender equality and all. So I'm just adding some other points, how we can, as a society, how we can join this game to eradicate all these girl child violations. And also ensuring reproductive health rights is very important. So today it has become a very hot debate, a very hot topic in most of the communities, because when it comes to the reproductive health, right, it is very important to girl childs, because they should have rights to take decisions on their own bodies, right? And when it comes to the discussion on right to abortion, or actually in most of the countries, in most of the developed countries, they have these rights to have facilities for very good reproductive health facilities. So especially I know that in Sri Lanka, we were having a discussion in Parliament as well regarding these sanitary pads even, right? So relating to such like very uncommon topics, we have to raise our voice regarding those uncommon topics. And as a society, especially through NGOs or maybe organizations and governmental organization and non-governmental organizations, while they are like promoting gender equality and while they are supporting to spread the awareness related to all the laws and all the other aspects of the girl child protection, from other side, the responsible authorities can take necessary actions, especially to amend the laws. Especially in Sri Lanka, we have a lot to amend, right, according to the current situations, current developments and trends, right? Especially when it comes to these, I mean, using social media. So how, to what extent a girl child, both child, but specifically a girl child is protected in social media according to Sri Lankan law. So we have to reconsider all these laws, and we have to have approaches from the legal perspective, and also we have to have attitude change even when it comes to social protection. And I think, yeah, at the end of the day, so there should be kind of a collective contribution for this game. Yeah.
All right, I believe all the information that would give a positive impact for all the attendees and the live audiences who are into this session. Well, let's move to the next question. This question will be answered by panelist Eranga, followed by panelist Insia. Yes, and the fifth question for today is, what is the potential of a girl child once protected and empowered?
Okay, what is the potential of a girl, child girl, once she is protected and empowered? Definitely, I think there are two sides. One is she can contribute significantly to her own well-being when she is protected, she is empowered, and also she can make a contribution to the society as a whole, right? So knowing all the rights and all, and having a good knowledge about the laws and about the place that we have in the society, we can empower ourselves, and we can contribute to our own well-being, protecting, to raise awareness against the violations. And also when it comes to the other aspect, definitely she can give her contribution to the society, especially raising her voice against the gender equalities, harassments. sometimes the violations and sexual harassments happen. So normally in Sri Lanka, being subjected to sexual harassment in a bus is a very common thing. But personally, I know most of the girls, they are in silent. They keep them silent because they are not willing to raise their voice against all these sexual harassment. Sometimes they become silent victims. Already they know that they are victims, but I don't know, they are not empowered, or they don't have the self-confidence to raise their voice against all these. And also, normally we think that children are very safe at parents' hands, but it is not true. In some of the cases, we know that these children, especially girl children, they are subjected to various domestic harassments, abuses from their parents. Some fathers, we have heard a lot of cases, these fathers, they rape their own daughter, right? Sometimes the brother rape her sister, right? These kind of things can be happen. So in such cases, because of being the father, sometimes she may kept herself silent, telling that, oh, he is my father, that's okay sometimes. And she is afraid or shy to expose that incident to the society, right? Maybe she is afraid of all the other continuous violations that may happen if she tell this to the world, right? So if a girl is empowered with all this knowledge and especially with the education of rights which is related to this girl-child protection, definitely she may be more confident, she may have a self-confidence to raise voice against all these human rights violations. And also, on the other hand, she can play as a leadership or an advocacy role in the society. They can become they can be advocates and leaders in the society in order to raise their voice against all these violations and ensure these rights on behalf of other communities, on behalf of other girl childs within the society. And sometimes they may get with this empowerment or being a girl who is empowered with all this education and laws related to girl child protection, definitely she may, being empowered, she may support the community with a lot of initiatives, creating initiatives to raise awareness and acting against all these things. Definitely they may fight for their rights. Sometimes they may raise their voice even against their parents. Right. So I think it's very important to, it's very important being protected, being empowered. So there's a huge potential of a girl child if they are empowered and if they are protected through all these protection laws.
I kind of agree with so many things that she has just said. I think a very big thing that people don't understand and governments don't understand, that I think just the discrimination is so, the gender gap is so much today. But if you just think about it, India is such a large country with such a huge population, right? We, and when I say we, I mean women, account for almost 50% of that population. So if you have to just look at it in the context of economy, bridging that gender gap and empowering a woman, educating a woman, letting her work is going to increase our GDP by almost 30%. That's a huge number. So I think that needs to be, really seriously taken, because a woman, when empowered, again, I come back to what I was saying in the beginning of this session, that When a woman is educated, she educates the entire nation. When a woman is working or she is economically independent, and I'll just say something here. Being economically independent is not the same as being financially free. There's a very big difference. I have seen a lot of, and this is seen a lot in the maid culture in India, where the woman is, working as maids in the house, and she's taking the money and giving to her husband. And even though she is economically independent, she's not financially free. So there is a very big difference there. And that also needs to be taken into consideration, that there are a lot of women who are working. They are in sectors that are not recognized. Okay, these are private, public, and then there is the other. Like if you look at maids, if you look at garbage workers, these are all sectors that are not recognized. But then the workforce of this is huge, because in India, there is a culture of having a maid in the house. So there are many women that are economically independent, and yet they are not free financially. I think these are elements that need to be seen, that while a woman might be free to go out and work, while she also might get the opportunity to go out and study, she might not get the opportunity to choose what she wants to do with that education. She might not get the opportunity to choose what she does with the money she earns. She might not get an opportunity to choose her spouse. So there is a question. On one hand, there's a question of empowering women with all the basic things like food and education and work and skill sets. And then there is this topic of allowing a girl to choose, giving her the freedom of choice. And these are things that we need to empower girls. And that can only happen when we stop this, what I call again, a generational problem. So if my mother was a very empowered woman, which she is, I'm watching her, I'm seeing her, I'm learning from her, and I take that forward into the places that I go. If I have seen my mother subdued, submissive, very docile woman who's taking a lot of abuse, there is a chance that I might just normalize that, and I might allow it to continue generation to generation. So again, it's about empowering the entire society, not just the woman. It's about empowering a woman, empowering the society with knowledge, engaging the society, whether it's within the house or whether it's outside of home, but bringing the entire system together to understand one basic thing, that I don't think a woman is asking to be a superwoman. I don't think a woman is asking to be, anything less than a woman. She is just asking to allow her to be what she is supposed to be, what she is meant to be. And that can only be decided by a woman. Nobody else should be deciding that for her. So I think, I don't know if I answered the question, but that's my perspective today. And I have gone through my own journey as a woman, from being a child. And when I go back and look at what I wanted to be as a child, I wanted to be a police inspector. And I didn't get the opportunity to be that. So, I think that fear that a woman cannot perform, or how will she do it? She's a woman, she's a girl. That is something that is inherited and needs to be unlearned. It's a conditioning that we need to decondition ourselves as a society when it comes to women, when it comes to a girl child.
And yes, thank you for the insightful answers that was given previously. And yes, we'll have a set of questions for the panelists for today. And let's begin the question, which will be answered by Ms. Eranga Dissanayake. Well, when there's a rape or any serious harassment happen to girls, the person like the lawyer who comes to protect the accused should get a punishment or kind of sentence.
That means that basically most of the people raise like against lawyers. That means that they are questioning the position of lawyers, why they are protecting all these, why these lawyers talking on behalf of accused, right? That's, I think, that's the question she raised. Okay, so this is not kind of a question that should be answered in a criminal law aspect, but definitely that comes under ethics actually. When it comes to the lawyers' ethics, they are just not protecting such accused or such persons. We have presumptions of innocence in our law. So definitely, like when such a case is come before the courts, a rape or a kind of any sexual harassment, definitely there should be a legal representative for that, even for that accused, not only for the victim. That is something a very normal thing in the legal field. We know that everyone has the right to have that legal representation before a court. So, and also when it comes to lawyers, they in their legal profession, they have kind of ethics as a professional. So they can't reject a case on being like depending on the case facts or whatever. But definitely, a lawyer should act according to all the laws. Definitely a role of a lawyer is just showing what they are in an act or what in the legal framework, what exactly the law is, right? They show in the law to the judges. They are not trying to, like, definitely they are presenting all the evidence and all. The judge is the one who is deciding actually who is the actually this accused person is the culprit or not. So because of this presumption of innocence, we cannot say that the lawyers should not represent all these accused, accused, maybe a raper or maybe a drug dealer or whatever, the person who has done a criminal offense. That person also a human being in a perspective. Definitely he also should have kind of a legal representation. So yeah, that should be discussed under ethics. Yeah, I think I answered the question.
I believe that should be an answered question for the one who raised the question. And let's move to Ms. Insia. Have you got any thoughts to add on to this question?
No, I honestly, I mean, I think it's a very legal question. So I would not look at it from an emotional perspective, but I do understand the person who's asking the question, because there have been times when we have thought about it, that somebody who has committed such a heinous crime, how can a lawyer protect that person? So I do understand, and I do understand what Eranga said, that, you know, it's a matter of ethics, and as they say, guilty until, or rather innocent until proven guilty. So laws are very objective, they are not emotional. So
I mean, lawyer cannot reject a case, like when the accused person comes for a legal representation, directly he cannot reject the case based on this incident. That means that accused person has done because of the reason that he has done a rape or serious sexual harassment. A lawyer cannot reject that case. Maybe mentioning some other reasons, a lawyer can reject it. But other than that, they cannot reject, and they should apply all this presumption of innocence in such cases. That's why.
Well, the question, I'll be reading it for you. Do you see a big gap between the girl child protection in Western countries and Asian countries?
So, well, I have lived in a foreign country for many years, in the US, and I would say the laws are quicker, they are swifter. justice is, we often say, right, justice delayed is not justice at all. So I think the difference is not the formation of laws, and I have said this many times during this session. India has some extremely good laws. In fact, after the Nirbhaya rape happened in 2012, there was an amendment on that law. There was an amendment on the POCSO law. So there are many, many good laws. What happens here, and we cannot compare. We cannot compare any foreign country with India, even though I want to, but I won't, because the infrastructure is so different. I mean, we have right now, as I speak, we have around 20,000 POCSO cases pending. Okay, and for people who don't know, POCSO case is anything to do with sexual abuse on a child. We have 20,000 of those. There are very, very few forensic labs. So the infrastructure is not there. And this is something that we have been appealing to the government to do, that we need more forensic labs, fast track courts, we need quite a few things to make the West and the East kind of, so this question shouldn't arise, right? That is that better or this? I think it's not something that we can compare, but from whatever I have seen of the West, justice is quite quick, and you don't have to wait years and years and keep going to courts, because that is what is a problem. And that is something that we often see. In fact, there have been films that have been made on this. If anybody has seen the film Damini, it was about that, that you keep getting tariq, which is date after date, and then justice is delayed. So that's what I would want to say to your question. I don't know if I've answered it satisfactorily, but this is the fact.
And if I add something to that, I think the cultural relativism is also there. It's totally different cultures in Asian countries and the foreign countries, I mean, the developed countries. So that also affects all these things, especially we are trying to, in Asian countries, we always try to strike a balance between all these religious perspectives, the cultures and all, especially with the laws. So sometimes people are fighting for right to abortion, and from the other side, they are saying that it's against the right to life. Right? There's always a contradiction between.
And also corruption. I think there is corruption also. There's a lot of, I mean, I think it's like, something that is a disease, right? And corruption, we have seen corruption take many cases that have been where the person who is the perpetrator has to be getting punishment and has been left out and let out very easily. So for corruption, influential people, religious aspects, discrimination on many different grounds, infrastructure, we have a lot of challenges, and we have our challenges are very different from Western countries. So yeah, they're not comparative at all.
So this judicial independence is affected through a lot of political interventions and all in most of the Asian countries, especially. So yeah, we could see it in not is related to child labor, but we could see such things in Royal Park murder case in here. And when it comes to some cases like that, we could see a lot of political interventions to our judicial systems in our countries.
Right.
Yes, I believe that we have answered the question. Now it's going to be the final question for today. And let's move to Miss Insia, since the time is running out. Yes, and the question is, do you see the rise of the internet and smartphones as a positive for girl child protection or as a negative?
No, I do not see the rise of the internet or the smartphone as a negative for a girl child. I think it's so we can't blame the technology because we are not able to, monitor our own selves. There is a lot that is out there today with the, increasing media platforms with OTT and all different kinds of. A phone is actually like a weapon sometimes, right? And we are seeing that. WhatsApp activism, media going all over the places, videos transferred, videos exchanged. So a lot can happen. And I'm assuming you're talking about, so what happens with girl children? You're talking about porn films that are exchanged. A lot of times girls are forced, into extortion because of, and there are cases that we have seen, cyber crimes, where a girl has fallen in love with somebody and, they've got carried away, shared information, shared some very, very personal information. And then that is being used against them to extort money, to extort sex, to just harass. But there are very strong cyber cells in India that arrest this. And in fact, during COVID, the increase of cybercrime was a lot because we all were locked down within our homes, and the only things that we had to our access was the internet. I don't necessarily see it as a negative to the girl child alone. I think it is, if anything, it can harm anybody and everybody. But yes, if there is one thing that can be done, is that we can use our discretion. We are human beings with a brain. We are intelligent humans, and we can use our discretion. We can be careful. We can study how to protect ourselves from cyber crimes, whether it's a girl or a boy or whoever, it doesn't matter, because there are good laws to protect a girl as well against cyber crimes. So internet can be used to your advantage. Social media can be used to your advantage. As a media person, I can say that with a lot of surety that my entire work has happened because of the internet, and I have connected with people on the internet. These people have become volunteers, interns, they have been donors, they have been sponsors. My biggest campaign with the Bollywood industry stars happened during COVID, and it was all thanks to the internet. So the internet it's not, it is something, it's like anything and everything, right? An excess of anything is bad. Everything has to be in its limits. There has to be a balance. You need to, like, I will not take the name, but she knows who she is. She told me that I am away from the social media platforms because I think they are bad for me. And I have been very peaceful staying away from social media. The toxicity has decreased. And I think that's what it is. We need to ask ourselves, am I comfortable in this space? Do I have power? Do I have control? The minute you lose control and you let anything take over, then I think it's a lost battle to begin with. So you can be holding a smartphone in your hand and you could be getting a message that is detrimental if you share it, or it's going to be something that is going to benefit others if you share it. The choice is yours, right? So you can get something in your palm, in your hand, in your phone, on your laptops, but it's up to you. How do you want to use it? I think you have the power to control anything and everything, and you need to exercise your own intelligence and discretion. So yeah, that's what I think, at least.
All right, thank you, panelist Insia, for that insightful information. Panelist Eranga, do you have any thoughts to add on to this question?
I think I'm totally agree with Insia. I think I have nothing to add. I think most of the steps described by Insia. Yeah, I'm cool, I think.
That's amazing for today's session. And well, since we have exceeded the time, I would like to express a heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed panelists for joining us today. Your expertise, insights, and commitment to the cause of girl child protection are truly commendable. We look forward to a profound and enlightening conversation. Thank you for being here and for your dedication to making a positive impact. Additionally, I would like to extend our appreciation to organizers IDMNC and for our partners, Pioneers Youth, and for our valuable audience today for being present today. Your presence and engagement are vital to the success of this event. Thank you for joining us and for your interest in the important topic of girl-child protection. We value your participation and contributions to our collective efforts. Good night, everyone. Have a great day.